You wake up in the middle of someone else's memory, but it feels like yours. There's smoke in the air, the soft kind, the kind that clings to your hair and smells like burnt bread and wet wood. Your breath floats in front of your face, white and slow, like it's trying to leave before the rest of you. You're not in a bed, not really, just a sack of straw that crackles every time you shift. Something sharp pokes your ribs. Could be a stick, could be a bone. You stopped checking months ago. Your back is cold. Your front is cold. There's a warm patch near your feet, but that might be the dog or a cousin. The fire's almost gone. Just a few red coals, flickering like they're embarrassed to still be here. Someone was supposed to watch them. Maybe it was you. Maybe it doesn't matter. Outside, the wind scratches the walls like it's trying to get in, but it doesn't need to try hard. The walls are made of mud and sticks and last year's regrets. The cold knows all the ways inside. And then, in the stillness, a question. What if your whole life was forgotten? Not because it wasn't worth remembering, but because it was too quiet, too cold, too ordinary. You were never a king. You never wrote a book. You just survived. Winter after winter, one breath at a time. The room is darker than night, not black, just dim and heavy, like a wool blanket pulled over the eyes of the world. There's no candle, no lantern. You don't waste wax on sleep. You can hear everyone breathing, all the other bodies piled nearby in little nests of cloth and straw. Family, neighbors, strays, the ones who needed a corner, the ones who wouldn't have made it through the night alone. There's no space, of course. There hasn't been space since Michaelmas, but space is for people with ceilings that don't leak. You're wedged between your uncle's knees and your sister's feet. One of them snores like a cow, the other has sharp toenails. You've stopped trying to figure out which is which. You pull the cloak tighter. It used to be a proper blanket once. Now it's a soft suggestion. Smells like smoke, damp wool, and something vaguely goat-shaped. You breathe it in anyway. It smells like home. Your stomach grumbles. Not loud, just a quiet protest. It wanted food. You gave it broth, if you can call that food. 2 turnips and a piece of old onion boiled into a gray soup. It tasted like boiling water that once heard a flavor. Still, it was warm. And warm is worth more than gold right now. You remember warmth, real warmth. Once there was a summer. You laid in the grass and the sun kissed your face, and you thought, this is what angels feel like. Then winter came back, like it always does, louder, meaner, hungrier. The roof groans. The snow must be heavier tonight. It piles up like old guilt, quiet, constant, and impossible to shake off. You glance upward. You can't see it, but you can feel it pressing down, like the sky itself forgot how to float. Somewhere in the thatch, a chicken stirs. She lives up there now, keeps the mice away, or maybe just watches them. You're not sure whose side she's on. Someone coughs in the dark, wet and rattling. You hope it's nothing, but you know better. You've heard that cough before, in neighbors, in cousins, in the priest, right before he stopped coming. No one talks about it, but it's there, floating in the smoke, hiding in the cold. There's no doctor here, no healer, just a bucket of ash, a few herbs, and your grandmother's whispered prayers. And even she's too tired to pray lately. You shift again. The straw underneath you is damp in places. Maybe someone spilled broth. Maybe it's just the ground reminding you it's still there. Mud sleeps with you in winter. So do fleas. So does time. You used to dream. Big dreams. Dreams of a warm house and a table full of bread, and maybe even a feather bed one day. Now you just dream about having both socks. You blink slowly, watching the fire shrink. You wonder if it knows it's the only thing keeping the cold from taking all of you. There's no chimney, just a hole where the smoke might go, might not. Some nights it rises. Some nights it curls low and settles in your lungs like a secret. You wonder how many people have breathed this same smoke before you. How many lived in this same house, sat by this same hearth, froze under this same roof. And how many are already forgotten. The cold creeps in under the door, under the walls, under your skin. It isn't cruel, just thorough. It doesn't hate you, it simply doesn't care. You pull your knees to your chest, your bones crack like old wood, and you wait. Not for morning, not for spring, just for the next breath. And the one after that. You wonder if that's what survival really is. Not fighting, not running, not even hoping. Just choosing to breathe again, even when the world has nothing left to give. Outside, the wind cries like a lost child. Inside, the fire sighs like it's giving up. And you? You lie still, wrapped in rags and silence and someone else's dream. Your body aches, your heart is tired, but you're here. You made it through another night, almost. And tomorrow, if you're lucky, you'll do it all again. But that is a story for tomorrow night. The morning doesn't arrive. Not really. It just appears. Gray like old linen, cold like memory. You don't wake so much as stop sleeping. The kind of sleep where your eyes are closed, but your mind never left the fire. Where you drift in and out of a body that won't stop aching. The coals are almost gone. You didn't bank them last night, or someone didn't. It hardly matters who. There's always blame in winter, but never enough warmth to go around. The room is quiet, but not silent. Quiet like breath, like fabric shifting. Someone stirs, slowly. Someone else coughs, the deep, rattling kind that doesn't belong to just one person anymore. It's settled into all of you now, like a second language. You don't move yet. You just lie there, beneath your damp blanket of rags and skin and shared air. You listen to the house. It creaks, gently, like it remembers better days. Maybe it does. These walls have held 100 winters, maybe more. They're patched with moss, wool, old cloth, and things no one wants to name. Every crack stuffed by hand, every smear of mud laid with tired fingers. This house was never built to last, but it's still standing, and so are you. Eventually, you sit up. The cold rushes to meet you. Your breath fogs in the air, then disappears. You wonder where it goes, if it carries a piece of you with it. You feel smaller in winter, like you're being worn down, grain by grain. You rub your arms. The wool is rough. It scratches, but it holds heat, or pretends to. You don't remember when you last changed clothes. Doesn't matter. They've molded to your shape now, stiff at the elbows, damp at the cuffs. Every stain a little memory of something that once tried to be food. You stretch your legs. Your knees pop. You're not old, not really. But winter doesn't care. Winter makes everyone creak. Your little sister is still asleep, curled up like a question mark. Her nose pokes out from beneath a bit of fur you traded 3 onions for last harvest. Best trade you ever made. She's still breathing. That's what matters. That's all that matters. You don't wake her. You stand slowly, joints arguing as you rise. You step over 3 bodies and a chicken. 1 snore, 2 groans, 1 feathered protest. No one opens their eyes. Why would they? The house is colder standing up. You shuffle toward the fire, or what's left of it. Just a few brave embers clinging to each other. You kneel and blow, gently, slowly, the way your mother showed you. Once, twice, a 3rd time. The red glows brighter. You feed it a handful of straw and say a small prayer to nothing in particular. It catches. Barely. But it catches. The water in the pot is frozen again. Thin white crust on top, like frostbite turned liquid. You crack it with the ladle. The sound is sharp in the silence, like breaking a promise. You'll need more fire if anyone's eating today. Not that there's much to eat. A bit of barley, a shriveled carrot, something that might once have been cabbage. You keep it all in a cloth bundle tied with string, hanging from a rafter, like a very modest offering to the gods of hunger. You hear a noise outside. Not loud, just deliberate. Someone walking past your house. Boots on frozen mud. You recognize the rhythm. Slow, limping, careful. Probably old Martin, dragging his bad leg to the well again. Or what's left of the well. The bucket cracked 2 winters ago. Now it's just a hole surrounded by shared denial. Still, it's water. Sort of. You wonder if he's okay. Then you wonder if he's alive. Then you realize you're not sure what the difference is anymore. The roof groans again. You look up. A thin patch of daylight shows through the thatch. Pale and cold. Not golden. Just light enough to remind you you're still here. You can see your breath in it. A little cloud rising toward the hole. You wonder if the roof remembers everyone it sheltered. You wonder if the roof even knows your name. Your fingers are stiff, but you start gathering wood anyway. The pile in the corner is almost gone. Mostly twigs now, and a few damp branches that hiss instead of burn. You collect them carefully, each one a small defiance. Your mother used to say, "Fire is a blessing, but it's also a mouth. It always wants more." You feed it what you can. The warmth that comes is not enough, but it is something. A flicker, a whisper. You sit near it, closer than you should. You feel the heat on your shins, but the rest of you stays. You sit near it, closer than you should. You feel the heat on your shins, but the rest of you stays cold. That's how it always is. Fire is greedy. It loves your front and forgets your back. You glance toward the sleeping heap. Someone has started to snore. Someone else is muttering. The baby whimpers and then quiets again. The others don't move. No one wants to move. Your eyes drift to the far wall, the one that leans slightly, the one patched with a bit of goat hide and something that used to be a curtain. There's a mark there, a handprint, from years ago. Maybe yours, maybe someone else's. It's smaller than your hand now. You press your palm to it. The mud is dry, cold, solid. But it remembers, even if no one else does. You whisper something, a word only you hear. You don't know why. And then you sit. The fire crackles softly. The wind hums through the roof. The house exhales. You don't smile, not exactly, but something inside you softens, just a little. You're here. You're breathing. The fire lives. And in a world made of hunger and forgetting, that's more than most. Tomorrow, you'll fetch water. You'll scavenge for wood. Maybe share a joke that's been told 100 times but still makes someone laugh. Tomorrow, the cold will come back, and so will the coughing. But tonight, for this moment, you are warm. You are alive. You are not a name carved in stone. Not yet. But that is a story for tomorrow night. Would you like me to begin part 3 next? You don't remember standing, but now you're outside. The cold hits your face like truth. Immediate, unforgiving, real. Your boots are just leather wrapped in string. They aren't stitched well. One heel flaps like a loose page. You told yourself you'd fix it when the weather cleared, but the weather hasn't cleared in weeks. Maybe longer. You stopped marking days after the snow fell the first time and didn't melt. There are prints in the dirt. Yours. A few goat hooves. Something smaller. Maybe a rat. Maybe not. You don't bend down to check. The wind would bite you for that. The village is mostly still. Only smoke moves. Thin, gray threads rising from rooftops like whispered prayers. No chimneys. just holes. Holes where heat escapes faster than it arrives. You think about that. How everything that keeps you alive wants to leave. The heat, the food, the people. But not the cold. It stays. The cold is loyal. You pass the neighbor's door. Their curtain is drawn tight, a ragged sheet tied with twine. No one opens their homes in winter, not unless someone dies or gets married, but usually just dies. A chicken scurries across your path, startles you. You mutter something half-hearted and step around her. She's not yours. None of them are anymore. The livestock don't belong to anyone in the cold months. They sleep where they can, eat what's left, and stay inside if they're lucky, like you. You head toward the well, or the memory of one. It's barely a ring of stones now, lopsided, worn smooth by calloused hands and false hope. The bucket's cracked, the rope is frayed, but it's still there, like everything else around here. Broken, but still here. You lower the bucket, slowly. The rope creaks. It always does, like it's tired of being asked. It takes a moment to hit the water, then the soft splash, small, distant, like the world's last secret finally exhaling. You haul it up, hand over hand. The water sloshes. It smells faintly of iron and something else, something sour. But you'll drink it anyway. You all will. You always do. You hear something behind you, a cough, again, familiar now, closer this time. It's Edith, the midwife, or was. She's older than most roofs and just as cracked. She waves at you with one hand and holds her shawl shut with the other. "Frost's creeping in," she says. No greeting, just truth. You nod. It's the only thing worth saying. She glances at your bucket and makes a clicking noise with her tongue. "Waste of time," she says. "Water's colder than death." But both of us chuckle. Just a breath, nothing more. It's not a joke, not really. But sometimes pretending something's funny is the only way to make it through the day. She moves on.
She moves on, limping toward the chapel, or what's left of it. The priest hasn't come in months. He probably froze halfway from the next village and made peace with God in a snowbank. Still, she goes. She always goes. She says the walls remember her prayers, even if heaven doesn't. You carry the bucket back home, carefully, slowly. One spill and your fingers will sting for hours. You've lost feeling in 2 fingertips already this year. You don't want to see what happens to the next. The door moans as you push it open. Warmth greets you. Not a lot, but enough. Someone stoked the fire. Someone stirred the pot. The broth smells like roots and smoke and something faintly hopeful. You're not sure who made it. Maybe your sister. Maybe no one. Maybe it just boiled itself out of stubbornness. You set the bucket down. No one thanks you. They don't need to. Just being back is enough. You sit, slowly. Your joints resist again. Your cloak creases with a sigh. You look around the room. A child is chewing on a crust of bread so hard it could break a tooth. But it won't. She's already lost the weak ones. That's how nature works here. It leaves behind only what can endure. A man you barely know is sleeping near the fire. His face is lined, his beard is frozen in places. You don't ask his name. He's been here 2 nights, maybe 3. He brought a sack of apples that turned out to be mostly bruises. But no one turned him away. You don't do that. Not in winter. The baby cries again. Not loud, just tired. Like the rest of you. Your sister picks her up, rocks her gently, whispers the same 3 lines your mother used to say. Hush now, warm as wool, mama's here and belly's full. It isn't true. But sometimes lies keep people alive better than facts. You close your eyes. The fire crackles softly. A spoon stirs a pot. Someone hums, out of tune, out of breath, but alive. That's the goal after all. Not comfort, not happiness, just staying. One more hour, one more night, one more season. You think about the people who will never know this place, who will never hear this fire, who will never lie awake on straw and think, I am not meant to be remembered. You wonder if their lives feel more real, or just better lit. Your hands are numb, but you're full. Not much, just broth and crust, but full enough. You settle back. Let your head touch the wall. It's still cold, but not biting. And for tonight, you don't need anything else. Tomorrow there will be chores, wood to gather, holes to patch, coughs to count. But tonight, you are still here. And that, somehow, is everything. But that is a story for tomorrow night.
You wake with a spoon in your hand, still crusted with broth. Someone must have handed it to you in the night, or maybe you were feeding the fire, or the baby, or yourself. It's hard to tell these days. Everything blurs together now. One breath folds into the next. The air is colder this morning, sharper. Your nose tells you before your eyes do. You sit up, slowly. Your back cracks, and your neck joins in. You don't groan, not out loud. You save your complaints for the inside, where no one has to carry them but you. The coals are ash now, white and soft and full of yesterday. Your sister is still asleep, curled into a ball under 2 cloaks and a folded apron. The baby's beside her, mouth open, cheeks pink. A good sign. If there's pink in a face, it means blood is still moving. If there isn't, well, you've seen what that means too. You push off the blanket and stand. It feels like peeling yourself away from the only warmth you'll feel all day. But the house doesn't wait. Nothing does. The door sticks as you open it. The snow piled against it in the night, quiet and stubborn. You lean your weight into it and nudge it open with your shoulder. And then you step outside. The world is white. But not the soft, clean white of fairy tales. This white is hard, uneven, bruised at the edges. The ground crunches beneath you. Ice clings to everything. The trees, the fence, the bucket you left out by accident. It sculpted the village into something quiet and slow, like a painting left in the cold too long. Your boots leave fresh marks on the path. Not that it matters. The wind will erase them by dusk. You pass the neighbor's barn. There's no smoke from their roof today. That might mean they're out of wood, or it might mean they're gone. You wonder if you should check. You don't. Not yet. You head toward the tree line. The woods aren't far, just past the old fence where the ground sinks and the sky feels lower. You only go there when you must, not because of wolves, though they're real enough, but because the trees don't like visitors in winter. They creak like old men. They drop snow on your head without warning, and they whisper, not in words exactly, just in knowing. But today, there's no choice. You need wood. You carry a small hatchet, dull but yours. The handle is wrapped in cloth where it cracked last year. It creaks with every swing now, just like you. You find a fallen branch, then another, then another. You don't look for dry ones. Dry doesn't exist anymore, only less wet. You gather what you can, stack it in your arms, feel the cold bite through your sleeves, and ignore it like always. There's no one else in the woods, just you and the weight. By the time you get back to the house, your fingers are stiff, and your arms are tired in that deep, ancient way, the kind of tired that settles into your shoulders and stays for days. Inside, the fire is barely breathing. Someone tossed in a few twigs. They sizzle more than they burn. You kneel by the hearth and feed it slowly, branch by branch, a rhythm you know better than your own heartbeat. It catches. Not well, not proud, but it catches.
You sit close and hold your hands to the glow. The skin is red and raw. Tiny cracks line your knuckles like a map drawn by someone impatient. Still, you're warm now. A little. Your sister wakes and stirs the pot. She adds a crust to the broth. It softens slowly, like old bread trying to remember how to be food again. You eat in silence, all of you. The baby watches with wide eyes. She has a habit of blinking slowly, like the cold makes even that feel like work. You smile at her. She doesn't smile back, but she doesn't cry either. In winter, not crying counts as joy. Later, you patch a hole in the wall. Nothing fancy, just a rag, a handful of moss, and a prayer said under your breath. You push it into the gap until the wind sighs less and the room sighs more. The sound of survival isn't grand. It's not victory songs or cheering crowds. It's quiet fingers jamming cloth into a crack in the wall. It's a pot bubbling over coals. It's a sleeping child not coughing. That's what hope sounds like here. Small things, soft things, things that no one outside this house will ever remember. By nightfall, the air inside is warmer than it was this morning. The fire holds, barely, but it holds. You share the same bread again, the same broth again. You sit in the same places and tell the same stories, but no one minds. In a world where everything hurts, repetition is mercy. Your uncle hums something under his breath.
Your uncle hums something under his breath, a tune from long ago. You don't know the words. Maybe there never were any, or maybe the words left when the warmth did. The baby makes a noise, halfway between a hiccup and a laugh. Everyone looks. Just for a moment, the room is lighter. Not warmer, just softer. And in that flicker of something, that sound, that pause, that shared glance, you feel it again. The reason you keep going. Not for glory, not for reward, just for that. A sound in the dark, a laugh from a child, a breath shared between ghosts. The fire sinks again. The air grows still. You lie down on the same straw mattress with the same aching shoulders. The same dog is at your feet, or cousin, still hard to tell. And as your eyes close and your fingers curl into the cloth, you hear the wind again. Not angry this time, just lonely. You whisper good night. No one hears it, but that is a story for tomorrow night. You wake to the sound of chewing, slow, careful, like someone trying not to finish too soon. You open your eyes, just enough to see shapes moving in the gray. The morning is heavy again, or maybe it's still night. The light doesn't change much anymore. It comes through the walls like regret, pale, reluctant, and cold. Your sister is crouched near the hearth, breaking off pieces of something flat and brown. You recognize it, barley cake, the last one. She's cutting it into pieces that are too small to be fair, and too big to be enough. She sees you watching and smiles, a quiet smile, one that says, "I'm sorry, but there's no more." You nod, just once. You don't ask questions anymore. You've run out of those too. The fire didn't last through the night. You should have woken up to feed it, but sleep caught you by surprise, the kind that drags you down like water, deep, still, and heavy. Your dreams were full of strange things again, trees with candles, a table with warm bread, your mother's voice humming from another room. But there are no other rooms here. There never were. You blink the dream away. The cold makes it easy. Your breath is visible again, a little cloud rising, like a soul that changed its mind halfway out. You sit up, and your stomach follows, not with pain, not with urgency, just with that same dull ache that never goes away. It's not empty, it's not full, it's just there, like an old friend you never invited but can't send home. Hunger. You used to fear it, the gnawing, the cramps, the way it would wake you up in the middle of the night like a punishment. But now it's just normal, a background hum beneath every thought. You plan your days around it. You measure time in bites, not hours. 2 mouthfuls of broth, a crust of rye,
One shriveled carrot divided 6 ways. That was yesterday. Today hasn't made any promises yet. Your sister hands you a piece of the cake. It's small, thin enough to see light through. Still warm, though. She must have laid it near the coals, even if they're mostly ash now. You nod again. That's all you say. Thank yous feel expensive. You bite. It tastes like wood, bitter at the edges, too dry, too flat. But it crumbles in your mouth, and that's enough. That's what food is now. Anything that crumbles. If it softens with heat or chewing or spit, it's welcome. You chew slowly, not to savor it, just to make it last. Someone outside is chopping wood, far off, maybe 2 houses away. The sound echoes like a heartbeat with no body. You count the strikes, 7, 8, then a pause, then more. You wonder if they're lucky enough to have a tree of their own. You wonder if it was a neighbor's tree. You wonder how long before yours disappears too. You shift your legs, your knees pop. You rub the joints with your hands, trying to coax blood into them. Cold settles into bones first, then it waits. That's the trick of it. It's not loud, it's patient. You stretch, then stand, slowly. No one speaks. They're all waking the same way. Stiff, half-starved, cautious, like people who've already seen too many mornings. You glance at the pot. Empty. Just a stain around the bottom, dark and sticky. You scrape it with the ladle anyway. Maybe there's flavor left in it. Maybe warmth. Your sister watches, doesn't stop you. She knows better. You pour a bit of water in, swirl it. It turns cloudy. Not quite soup, not quite tea, not quite anything. You sip. It's warm. That's enough. You step out again. The air hits you like it always does. Quietly, brutal. No birds, no footsteps. Just the sound of your own breath and the hush of snow adjusting itself.
Snow adjusting itself under the weight of the world. The sky is a color you can't name, pale blue but tired, like someone's eyelid before sleep. You walk toward the woods again, not for firewood this time. You're looking for anything. You know what grows in winter? Nothing. But sometimes you find what used to grow. Dry leaves, frozen nettles, a buried turnip the pigs missed. You've become good at spotting leftovers, forgotten things, the roots of roots, the idea of food. You dig near a stump, carefully, gloved hands, numb fingers. You scrape with a stick, then with your nails. And then you find it. A patch of mushrooms, small, gray, growing beneath a layer of damp leaves. You squint, you tilt your head. Safe? Not safe. You don't know. But they're soft. They're not black. They don't smell like death. And that's good enough. You bring them back. Your sister looks at them, then looks at you. She doesn't ask where. She doesn't ask if they're safe. She just boils water. You sit by the hearth again. Your clothes steam slightly. The mushrooms bob in the pot like tired swimmers. You breathe in the scent. It's faint, earthy, damp. It smells like maybe. And in this house, maybe is worth more than anything. The sun dips lower again, or maybe it never rose. Your family eats in silence. Tiny spoonfuls, careful bites. No one complains, no one celebrates. You just eat, slowly, like people who remember what not eating feels like too well. Your sister licks the spoon after it's empty. You do the same. The baby sucks on a piece of cloth dipped in broth. She's too small for hunger, but she'll learn. Everyone does. You lie down again. Same straw, same space. But your belly is a little less hollow tonight. Not full, never full. Just less empty. And that's something. Tomorrow you'll search again. Maybe someone will trade. Maybe someone won't need their horse bones anymore. Maybe the snow will shift and show you where the roots sleep. Maybe. You close your eyes. You let the ache settle into silence. You let the house breathe around you. And you hold the warmth you found today, however small. because that is a story for tomorrow night.
Snow adjusting itself under the weight of the world. The sky is a color you can't name, pale blue but tired, like someone's eyelid before sleep. You walk toward the woods again, not for firewood this time. You're looking for anything. You know what grows in winter? Nothing. But sometimes you find what used to grow. Dry leaves, frozen nettles, a buried turnip the pigs missed. You've become good at spotting leftovers, forgotten things, the roots of roots, the idea of food. You dig near a stump, carefully, gloved hands, numb fingers. You scrape with a stick, then with your nails. And then you find it. A patch of mushrooms, small, gray, growing beneath a layer of damp leaves. You squint, you tilt your head. Safe? Not safe. You don't know. But they're soft. They're not black. They don't smell like death. And that's good enough. You bring them back. Your sister looks at them, then looks at you. She doesn't ask where. She doesn't ask if they're safe. She just boils water. You sit by the hearth again. Your clothes steam slightly. The mushrooms bob in the pot like tired swimmers. You breathe in the scent. It's faint, earthy, damp. It smells like maybe. And in this house, maybe is worth more than anything. The sun dips lower again, or maybe it never rose. Your family eats in silence. Tiny spoonfuls, careful bites. No one complains, no one celebrates. You just eat, slowly, like people who remember what not eating feels like too well. Your sister licks the spoon after it's empty. You do the same. The baby sucks on a piece of cloth dipped in broth. She's too small for hunger, but she'll learn. Everyone does. You lie down again. Same straw, same space. But your belly is a little less hollow tonight. Not full, never full. Just less empty. And that's something. Tomorrow you'll search again. Maybe someone will trade. Maybe someone won't need their horse bones anymore. Maybe the snow will shift and show you where the roots sleep. Maybe. You close your eyes. You let the ache settle into silence. You let the house breathe around you. And you hold the warmth you found today, however small, because that is a story for tomorrow night. Tonight, you fall asleep with your hand resting on your chest. Not for comfort, not for warmth, just to remind yourself you're still breathing. The straw beneath you shifts each time someone rolls over. You've all learned to sleep lightly, half dreams, half waiting. Like the floor might disappear, or the roof might forget it's a roof. The fire's burned low again, only a few glowing lines in the ash. They look like writing, a quiet sentence drawn by heat and time. You stare at it. You can't read, but sometimes you feel like you almost can. You're not sure when you stopped dreaming properly, the kind of dreams where things bloom and voices call your name in green fields. Now your dreams are quiet, not nightmares, just dim. Last night you dreamed of a bench. That's all, a bench. No people, no sky, just the grain of wood and the sound of someone sitting down. You woke up missing something, but you couldn't say what. In the gray light of early morning, your body reminds you of its rules. First, the ache in the knees, then the chill in the hands, then the slow realization that you're hungry again. Not the painful kind, just the ever-present one. A tug behind your ribs, a thought in your stomach. You roll onto your side. The baby has your sister's finger in her hand again, even in sleep, holding tight, like she's afraid the night might steal her. You understand that feeling. You think about your mother, not on purpose, just softly. The way she tied her shawl, the way her hands never stopped moving even when there was nothing to do. The way she used to hum when she stirred the pot,
even if the pot was empty. You can still hear her some nights, not clearly, just the rhythm of her voice, the ghost of a melody with no words. She's been gone 2 winters now, or maybe 3. The memory fades in pieces, not all at once, not in big dramatic silence, just slowly, like a song you used to know, played behind a closed door. You sit up, stretch your legs. The cold is waiting, as usual. You check the corner by the door. The root bag is nearly flat, only a soft bulge where a few withered parsnips lie tangled together. They're soft and sweet now, nearly rotten, but you'll cook them anyway. They go in the pot with water and salt. Not much salt, just a pinch, enough to trick the tongue into thinking flavor still exists. Your sister joins you, wraps herself in a blanket and sits close. No words, just the comfort of sitting near something that might boil soon. You remember a time, maybe last year, maybe longer, when there were herbs. Little green leaves crushed between fingers, sharp with scent, thyme, marjoram, something that made soup feel like hope. You used to help pick them, just after rain, when the dirt was soft and forgiving, your feet bare, your hands dirty, laughing about something you've now forgotten. You remember your sister dropped a bunch once, and a goat ate them. You both laughed until your sides hurt. And now, that moment feels like a story someone else lived. But you almost remember it. And tonight, that's enough. The broth begins to steam. Your sister stands and feeds the fire a few more sticks. The flames rise, timid but loyal. They lick the edges of the pot, and the room fills with that same tired smell. Hot water, root vegetables, and old iron. It's not a feast, but it's not nothing. Outside, it's snowing again. Not heavy, just drifting. Like the sky is trying to fall asleep, but keeps tossing in its sheaths. The flakes melt on the window cloth, leaving little wet dots that catch the light. They remind you of stars, if stars were close enough to touch. You lean your head against the wall. It's cold, everything is. But it doesn't feel cruel today, just quiet. Someone knocks. Once. Soft. It's the kind of knock you only hear in winter. The kind that asks, "Do you have room? Do you have food? Do you remember me?" You open the door, slowly, carefully. It's Thomas, from 2 houses down, or what's left of his house. You heard the roof collapsed under snow last week. He holds a bundle in his arms. Maybe firewood, maybe bones, maybe both. You don't ask. You open the door wider. He steps inside. His beard is frosted. His eyes are red. He looks around and says, "It's warmer here." You nod, then point to the pot. He nods back. He sits. And just like that, he's part of the day, part of the quiet. When the soup is done, you share it. 3 bowls now, each one passed gently, carefully. You blow on your spoon. You watch steam curl upward like a ghost with nowhere else to go. No one speaks, but the silence feels softer now, like it's being held by all 3 of you. Thomas finishes first. He says, "Tastes like something." Then he laughs, just once. You laugh too. Even your sister smiles. Later, you all sit near the hearth. You mend a boot. Your sister hums a half-remembered lullaby. The baby chews on a rag. And for a moment, the room feels full. Not of food, not of fire, but of something else. Something slower, sadder, better. Like a memory you almost forgot, but didn't. And maybe that's what survival really is. Not having more, not feeling full, just remembering enough to keep going. And that is a story for tomorrow night. You're not sure how long you've been staring at the fire. Could be minutes, could be hours. It doesn't move fast, just flickers, soft and steady, like a thought trying not to disappear. Someone just stirred the coals. Maybe it was you. The poker is still warm in your hand. The motion lives in your muscles now, even when you forget to notice it. Across the room, Thomas is asleep, sitting up, arms crossed, his head resting on the wall behind him. He's snoring quietly. Your sister's blanket is draped over his knees. She must have done that earlier. You don't remember her moving. The baby's wrapped in layers of cloth near the fire. Her little fist is tight, holding on to nothing, or maybe everything. It's quiet in the house. Not the hollow kind, the full kind. The kind that's earned, that sits heavy but soft. You're used to this quiet. It's always here after meals. Even small ones, even broth that tastes like wet bark. The silence comes anyway, and stays, and wraps itself around the people left behind. The snow has stopped, for now. The window cloth has dried stiff where the flakes melted earlier. A thin line of frost creeps around the edges. You run your finger along it, watch it disappear. It reminds you of when you were younger, tracing patterns into fogged glass with a fingernail, making circles, smiley faces, a sun. Always a sun. You used to draw them even in the dead of winter, just to remember what light looked like. You haven't done that in a while. Your body aches again, a familiar rhythm. Ankles first, then hips, then the slow burning line across your shoulders, like someone tied a rope there and forgot to untie it. You stretch, gently. You've learned how far you can go without pulling something. The line between movement and injury is thin these days. You shift your legs beneath you. The straw rustles. Some of it's damp again, probably from someone spilling water earlier, or sleeping too long in one place. It doesn't matter. You'll dry it later. Or you won't, and life will go on either way. Your sister is kneading something. A bit of flour, a splash of water, a pinch of salt. The same motions, the same mixture. She doesn't speak. She just works. Her hands move like they've done it 100 times, maybe more.
The dough doesn't rise. There's no yeast, just heat and hope. It will cook fast, hard at the edges, barely bread. But still, when it's warm, it will taste like something meant to be eaten, something made. And that means more than you'd expect. You hear footsteps outside. Not rushed, not desperate, just steady. You wait. You always wait. Could be a neighbor, could be someone lost, could be someone looking for what you no longer have. But the footsteps pass. They always do. No one wants to linger long in winter unless they have to. Thomas stirs, blinks, adjusts his weight. "Still here," he says softly, like he's surprised. You glance at him, nod. "Me too." He doesn't say anything else, just closes his eyes again. Not sleep this time, just resting, just waiting for nothing in particular. That's how most of the hours pass now. Not in tasks, not in movement, just in staying. When the bread is done, your sister breaks it in half, then in half again. You each get a piece. No plates, no ceremony, just warm hands on warm bread. You hold it for a moment before eating. Feel the heat pass into your fingers. It's the best part, that first warmth, even if it only lasts a few seconds. You take a bite, chew slowly. It's tough, a little sour, but it fills your mouth in a way soup doesn't. For a few moments, the room feels full again, not because there's much, but because there's enough. Afterward, you sweep the floor, not because it needs it never really gets clean, but because the motion helps. The broom is just a bundle of twigs tied to a stick. It scratches the dirt floor, brushing away old ash, loose straw, crumbs too small to matter. You hum while you work. It's not a song you know, just a sound, a pattern your throat makes when your mind goes quiet. Your mother used to do the same. You remember that now, her sweeping at night, gently, like she didn't want to wake the house. She never sang full songs, just syllables, half hums, as if she was speaking to the dirt in a language only it understood. You wonder if the floor still remembers her. You wonder if you'll ever sound like that to someone else. Later, you sit again, not because there's nothing to do, but because that's what this season is for. Sitting, breathing, waiting, listening to the small sounds of the house.
A log settling in the fire. The baby exhaling in her sleep. The wind brushing its fingers across the roof. None of it matters, but all of it is. Thomas speaks once more before bed. When the thaw comes, he says, "I'm thinking of leaving." You nod, but don't answer. You've heard it before, from others, from yourself. When the thaw comes is the winter man's favorite story. It's always told, rarely lived. But you let him have it. Hope, after all, costs nothing when it's cold. You lie down again. Same place, same straw, same aching joints. But your stomach isn't empty, and your hands are still warm, and your name still exists, even if only here, in this quiet, smoke-filled house. The fire glows a little longer tonight. Your sister adds a log. The baby shifts in her sleep. Thomas snores again. And you, with your eyes half closed, feel the weight of it all, the hush, the bread, the breath, pressing gently into your bones. Another day survived, another silence shared. And that is a story for tomorrow night. The fire's burning lower again. It always does this time of night. Not out, not yet. Just thoughtful, dim, like it's thinking about leaving but hasn't found the right moment. You're awake, not because of a noise, not because of hunger, just awake. You've gotten good at that, sleeping only enough, never too deeply, never all the way. There's a kind of silence in the dark that pulls you back before dreams can finish. You watch the coals. They pulse, breathe. Little embers rise, like fireflies trying to remember how to fly. You follow them with your eyes, trace the soft trails they leave behind. Across the room, Thomas is stirring again. He doesn't open his eyes, just shifts under the blanket. He's been talking in his sleep lately, soft things, names mostly, none you recognize. You wonder who he's lost. You wonder who you've forgotten. Your sister sighs in her sleep. Not the heavy kind, not grief, just weariness. The sound a body makes after too many days in the same shape. You pull the blanket up over her shoulder. She doesn't notice, but the gesture feels like something that matters anyway, maybe more in its smallness. You toss a few twigs into the hearth, slowly, carefully. You know how much you have left, every piece counted, every crack remembered. The fire accepts your offering with a soft whisper. No crack, no spark. Just a little more light, a little more warmth. It's not much, but neither are you, and both of you are still here. You sit by the fire now, knees close to your chest. You feel the heat on your face, but not your fingers. That's how it always is. Heat never reaches the parts that need it most. You trace a pattern in the ash with the poker. Nothing fancy, just a shape that only you understand. A loop, a cross, a curve. You do this most nights. Like the fire is a journal, and this is the only place your thoughts can live. You think about things the fire never told you. Like why it only dances when someone's watching, or why it always dies quiet, or how it still makes shadows even when it's almost gone. Thomas shifts again, opens his eyes this time, sees you. He doesn't speak at first, just watches the coals too. Then, "You ever think about leaving?" The question hangs there, not heavy, not sharp, just present. You think about it, then nod. Sometimes. He snorts. Not a laugh, just the ghost of one. "Where would you even go?" You shrug. "Somewhere with fewer holes." You both look up. The roof sighs in its sleep. One of the chickens above rustles her feathers. You both chuckle. "That'd be nice," he says. You don't talk about how far away that place might be, or whether it even exists. It's enough just to say it out loud. You offer him a bit of the root you tucked near the fire earlier. It's soft now, sweeter, almost food. He breaks it in two without asking, hands you back half. You both chew in silence. The fire hums. He speaks again, this time slower. "When I was little, I thought grown-ups were never cold, thought they just Got used to it. You smile at that, quietly. Maybe they were just better liars. Thomas nods. Must have been. He pulls his blanket tighter. I remember my mother making stew, the real kind, meat, garlic. She'd stir it forever, like the longer it took, the more real it was. You can almost smell it when he says it. Or maybe your stomach just wants you to. Do you remember her, you ask? His face softens. Not sad, not happy, just worn. Not really, he says. Just that stew. You nod. You understand. It's not the people you remember. It's the moments around them. The smell of bread, the crack in the cup they always drank from, the way they held a spoon. Memories don't stay whole in the cold. They shatter. You just gather the warmest pieces. The fire crackles. One log splits in two with a soft sigh. You both look at it, like it just told you something important. He lays back down eventually, pulls the blanket over his head. You stay sitting. It's quiet again, but not alone. You think about how strange it is that this might be the warmest night of the week, not because of the fire, not because of the food, just because someone shared a root with you and remembered garlic. And sometimes that's enough. You lie down again, pull the blanket up to your chin. Your fingers are still cold, but your chest feels warm. You close your eyes. Let the fire speak in tiny flickers. Let the house hum in its sleep. Let the silence hold your name just a little longer. Because that is a story for tomorrow night. You wake to warmth, not heat, not comfort, just something better than cold. You don't open your eyes right away. There's a stillness to the house, the kind that only comes before anyone starts moving. You breathe in through your nose, thick air, full of smoke, cloth, and the soft scent of something roasting near the coals. It's too early for food, which means someone must have found something. You open your eyes slowly. The light is soft, grayish gold, not sunlight, not really. Just a brighter shade of cloud pressing through the patched wall like it's asking to be let in. You shift your legs. The straw beneath you crunches faintly. A chicken clucks somewhere above. Then silence again. You look around. Thomas is already up, kneeling near the fire, turning something on a stick. You can't tell what it is yet. Not meat, maybe a root, maybe a bit of cheese. His face is calm, unreadable, like he's focused on making the heat last just 1 minute longer. Your sister is still asleep, the baby curled against her. The little one's mouth is open, her cheek pressed against a folded shawl. You sit up, stretch your arms, listen to your shoulders complain. Thomas glances over and nods. I woke up early, he says, heard a fox in the yard. You raise an eyebrow. He shrugs. Didn't catch it, but it scared off the hens. Found an egg, though. He points at the fire. You see it now. Half a roasted onion and the cracked yolk of a found egg sliding through it like sunshine melting into earth. You don't speak, just blink at it. He adds, I split it 3 ways, 4 if we count the baby. You nod. She'll just drool it back out anyway. Exactly. He grins. The fire hums. The onion hisses in the pan. It smells like hope. You didn't know hope smelled this good. You lean closer and hold your hands toward the warmth. They're stiff again. They always are in the morning. Thomas flips the food once more. His movements are careful, gentle, like it's a task he doesn't want to finish too soon. You understand that feeling. He breaks the food when it's done. 1 piece to you, 1 to him, 1 to your sister, placed beside her to wake up to. You sit across from each other, still not saying much. You eat slowly. The onion is sweet. The egg is warm. The crust of it blackened just enough to taste like firewood. It's the best thing you've eaten in weeks. Afterward, you clean the pan with a cloth that used to be a sleeve. You both do it automatically, without speaking. That's the rhythm now, passing things back and forth. Salt, cloth, the ladle, the silence. It's strange, you think, how survival turns into a kind of choreography. Later, you both step outside. The snow is hard this morning, ice crust on top, soft underneath. It crunches under your boots like breaking promises. Thomas has your extra scarf wrapped around his head. It doesn't match, it's too short. He wears it like a crown. You say, "You look like a merchant who forgot his money." He smiles. "Better than a merchant who forgot his pants." You both laugh, just once, but it's enough. The sun isn't out, but the air feels lighter, like the wind decided to leave you alone for a while. You check the trap line. Just string and a few snares near the tree line. Nothing today. A few tracks, some signs of digging, but the animals are smart now. They know who's desperate. You come back empty-handed. Thomas doesn't say anything. He just opens the door for you. Inside, your sister is feeding the baby bits of soft bread crust soaked in broth. The baby smacks her lips with the enthusiasm of someone who's never known disappointment. You sit nearby and watch the flames. They're burning steadier today. Someone tended the fire better. Maybe you did, maybe Thomas, maybe the house itself. You're starting to believe it has moods. You start weaving a patch for the wall. A bit of twine, some frayed wool, and strips of old cloth. You press it into the crack, pull tight, tuck in the corners. It's not strong, but it's a ritual, and rituals are how the cold loses. Thomas mends a boot. Your sister hums while stirring the pot. No one says anything, but everything is shared. That's the way of things now.
Not big gifts, not speeches, just quiet offerings. A piece of bread, a minute of warmth, a good stick for the fire. No one keeps score. No one needs to. As the day fades, you all eat together. The food is plain. The stories are familiar. The walls lean in close, as if listening. You feel tired in a way that isn't pain, just used. Used like a spoon or a bench. Something ordinary, but needed. You lie down again. Same straw, same position. But you're not cold tonight. Not really. The fire holds. The room breathes. The baby makes a sleepy noise and then goes quiet again. Your sister is already dreaming. Thomas sighs once, then stills. You close your eyes. Let the warmth in your chest carry you down. Let the silence mean something. Because tonight, you shared things that mattered, and no one had to say a word. And that is a story for tomorrow night. You wake up to dripping. Not loud, just steady. A soft rhythm against the stone near the door. Drip. Pause. Drip. The sound feels unfamiliar, almost wrong, but not in a bad way. You open your eyes. It's still dark inside. The fire's nothing but glowing breath now, a red sigh under the ash. But the air? It smells different. Still cold, but not biting, not sharp. Your blanket slides off your shoulder as you sit up, and for the first time in weeks, your skin doesn't shiver at the touch of air. Not at first, not immediately. It's small, but it's something. You glance at the door. The cloth hanging over it is damp, not frozen, just wet. A soft collapse of snowmelt drips from the top edge. Outside, the cold is changing its mind. Thomas is still asleep, his mouth slightly open, snoring like someone who finally stopped fighting the night. Your sister stirs. The baby makes a soft noise and kicks against her wrap. She pulls the child close without opening her eyes, murmuring something warm that only mothers remember how to say. You stand slowly, stretch, feel your body unfold like old parchment. Nothing cracks today. That feels strange too. You step to the door and pull back the cloth. Outside, the world is still gray, still quiet, but not the same kind of quiet. It's not death holding its breath. It's waiting.
The snow on the roof is thinner now, wet and sagging. The trees beyond the fields are dripping too, long, slow tears from their boughs. You see puddles forming in the grooves between frozen ridges. The ground still holds its frost, but it's softer now, like it's thinking about spring, even if it won't admit it yet. You step outside, just a few steps. The mud sucks gently at your boots, not hard, just enough to remind you the earth is waking up. You crouch and scoop a handful of slush, watch it melt through your fingers. It's cold, but it's not cruel. Not today. When you go back in, the house smells like bread. Your sister found the last of the barley flour and mixed it with what was left of the root paste from yesterday. The dough is rising, not much, just a little. A bubble here, a stretch there. It looks alive. You sit by the fire, stir the coals, add a stick. It catches easier today. You don't speak. No one does. But the mood is different. Quieter, yes, but with something hiding inside the quiet. Expectation. Thomas wakes without coughing. He blinks at the ceiling like he forgot where he was for a moment. Then he sees you, nods once, and rubs his face with both hands. Feels warmer, he mutters. You nod. Drips outside. He smiles, a slow, lopsided thing. I remember drips. You all eat together again. The bread is dense and pale, but warm. The baby gums her piece like it's the best thing she's ever known. Maybe it is. You chew slowly. Let it fill your mouth. Let it remind you that warmth still exists inside things. Later, Thomas says he wants to check the stream, see if it's moving again. You decide to go with him. Your sister stays, says she'll keep the fire going. Her voice is softer today, less cracked. She hums again after you leave. The path to the stream is crusted in snow, but parts of it give way beneath your boots. Patches of dark earth peek through. A worm lies curled in the thaw, confused and trembling. Birds. You hear birds. Not singing, not yet, but calling. Sharp sounds, quick wings, the kind of noise you forgot could exist. You and Thomas walk without talking for a while. Then he says, "The last time I was here, the water was frozen clean through. Now, it's not completely. There's a dark ribbon cutting through the ice, winding and whispering. Just a little. You both kneel beside it, watch it move. Neither of you speaks, but you feel it. Time turning. Not loudly, not all at once, just 1 degree at a time. On the way back, the wind picks up slightly. It doesn't sting, just brushes your face like someone brushing hair away from your eyes. Thomas stops and looks at the trees. What if this is the start of it, he says. You ask, start of what? He shrugs. Something better. You don't answer. You don't have to, because the way your boots squish in the softening ground already feels like a reply. Back inside, the house is warm. The fire's alive again, fed by a better mood. The baby is laughing, a real laugh this time, high and unpracticed. Your sister holds her close and makes a silly face you've never seen her make before. You sit down. Thomas too. No one says it, but something's changed. Not the hunger, that's still there. Not the cold, it hasn't truly left. But the grip is loosening. And you feel, maybe for the first time in months, you might survive. That night, you lie down and pull the blanket up to your chin. Your shoulders are warm. Your feet aren't numb. The fire still glows behind your eyelids when they close. The roof drips. The house creaks. Someone breathes beside you. And the silence no longer sounds like forgetting. It sounds like waiting. Like something slow and good is on its way. But that is a story for tomorrow night. You don't know the exact moment winter stops feeling permanent. It never tells you when it plans to leave. It just forgets to come back. Like today. You wake up expecting the cold, the sharp kind, the kind that bites at your fingers and settles in your joints. But when your eyes open, the air is soft. Not warm, Not yet. Just missing the cold. You sit up slower than usual, not because you're stiff, but because your body doesn't need to fight anything. That alone feels strange, suspicious even. You glance at the window cloth. It isn't frozen. It hangs loose and damp, a pale sag against the wall. Water drips from the roof, steady now, not like before, not occasional. This is melting. This is leaving. The fire is still burning. A small miracle. You don't remember who fed it last. Maybe your sister, maybe Thomas. Maybe it fed itself out of habit. You rise, stretch, feel your back pulled gently instead of scream. Your toes touch dirt that isn't icy. Your breath doesn't cloud in front of you. The house feels different. Less like a cave. More like a room. You push the door open and step outside. No boots today, just wrapped cloth. It's enough. The sky is low and pale, a lid on a pot that's finally cooled. Mist clings to the ground. Not frost, not fog, just air that's learning how to be air again. You close your eyes and listen. Water, everywhere, dripping, trickling, moving across roofs, down trees, along stone. Like the world has a heartbeat again. Like winter was only holding its breath. Thomas is already outside. He's got sleeves rolled up and mud on both knees. He's lifting a stone near the chicken pen, squinting into the dark patch underneath. You call to him, voice half hoarse. Looking for treasure? He grins without turning around. Worms. You blink. For the birds? He looks over his shoulder. For me. You raise an eyebrow? He shrugs. They ate better than we did this winter. Back inside, the mood is almost cheerful. Not loud, not foolish, just lighter. The baby crawls across the dirt floor, chasing a dry sprig of hay. She squeals when she grabs it, shakes it like a prize, then tries to eat it. Your sister pulls it away and laughs. The baby doesn't cry, just grabs her foot instead. The laughter doesn't echo. It settles, like a blanket dropped gently over the day. You gather wood, but not frantically. The urgency is gone now. You choose pieces. You think about weight and shape. There's time again. You don't have to burn everything just to stay alive. You come back with dry branches that smell like cedar. Your sister smiles when she sees them. She says nothing, but she sets them aside like something sacred. Thomas has a plan now, or the beginning of one. He wants to clear the path to the well again, maybe rebuild the top. You both take a look. The rope is moldy, the stone lip is cracked, but the water is still there, still willing. You work for hours without speaking. You pass tools, tie knots, rest when the other does. The kind of rhythm only found between people who have nothing left to prove. At dusk, the air grows cold again, just a little, enough to remind you winter hasn't left, but it's losing. The fire inside burns steady. The soup tastes better tonight, not because of the ingredients, but because of the mouths that still sit around it. The baby falls asleep against your sister's chest. Thomas leans back against the wall, closes his eyes, and says, "I forgot what days were like." You know what he means. It's hard to remember who you were before the cold. Harder still to imagine who you'll be after it. But tonight, the idea doesn't feel distant. It feels nearby, sitting just beyond the edge of the hearth, waiting its turn. You lie down again. Same blanket, same straw, same walls, but different air. And that changes everything. You breathe deeply. Inhale damp wood and warm cloth. Exhale whatever part of you thought the snow would last forever. Tomorrow, maybe there will be sun, or birds, or more bread. You don't hope for it, not exactly. You just leave space for it. Because tonight, for the first time in a long time, it feels like something new might find its way in. But that
is a story for tomorrow night. The sun came today. No announcement, no grand entrance. It just appeared. You noticed it first by the shadows. Long, unfamiliar shapes cast across the floor. Light slipping through the patched walls, catching in dust like gold trying to remember what it's for. You blinked at it, then blinked again. You almost didn't recognize it. The house looks different in sunlight. You see everything. The cracks, the stains, the softness of things once sharp. The places where the roof bowed under snow. The line along the wall where your breath used to freeze. But none of it feels heavy today. Even the broken things look like they've survived something important. Your sister is standing in the doorway. She has the baby on her hip, a shawl around her shoulders, and her eyes closed. Just standing there, in the sun, not moving, not humming, just letting it touch her. You don't interrupt. Outside, the mud is worse than ever. Thick, sucking, eager. It grabs your boots like it wants to keep them. But the ground underneath is softening. The grip is looser. The freeze is over. You walk slowly down the path toward the trees. Thomas is already there. He's digging, not deep, not hard, just stirring the earth with a stick. He grins when he sees you. "Look," he says, holding something up. You lean in. It's green. Barely. A curl of stem, 2 pale leaves, one still folded. You reach out to touch it. Your fingers graze the surface, tender, damp, and unbelievably alive. You both look at it like it's a miracle, because it is. It's the first green thing you've seen in months. Not food, not fuel, not useful. Just a small, defiant answer to everything winter tried to take. You gather what you can. Not much. Just some dead twigs, a piece of bark, a few bitter greens growing along the edge of the woods. Your sister might boil them, or feed them to the goat. You don't mind either way. It just feels good to bring something in again. Not just guard what you have, but offer something new. Back in the house, the window cloth is tied up. The air moves. Not wind, not draft, just movement. The baby crawls toward the sunbeams stretched across the dirt floor. She bats at the light like it's a toy, then squeals. You all laugh. It's the kind of sound that's been waiting in your chest for weeks. Thomas says he might try fishing soon. The stream is thawed. Not full, not clear, but moving. He talks about digging a line, fixing the net. Your sister nods along. She doesn't roll her eyes like before. You sit and listen. You don't add anything, but something inside you is listening too. It's been a long time since talk of next week meant anything. Now it does. Later that day, your sister starts sweeping. Not just the corners, not just the hearth, everything. She moves the sleeping mats, lifts the water pail, pushes straw into piles, shakes out the cloaks. She opens the back door and lets in air that smells like wet wood and melted moss. You and Thomas don't ask what she's doing. You just help, because you understand. This isn't cleaning, it's letting go. The house breathes. The walls stop holding their breath. The cold is still there, in patches, tucked into the floor, curled in the corners. But it's losing ground, and you are gaining some. That night, the fire burns brighter, not because you fed it more, but because everything feels less heavy. Even the smoke rises more easily. Even the silence feels soft. You eat your soup in slower bites. You dip your bread without rushing. The baby gurgles between spoonfuls. Thomas says something about the smell of moss. Your sister leans back and smiles without thinking.
You lie down, but not because you're tired, just because you're full. Enough food, enough laughter, enough warmth. For tonight, at least. Your head rests on the same bundle of cloth. Your feet curl under the same blanket, but everything feels different. Like something old has ended, and something quiet has just begun. You close your eyes. You think of the green stem in Thomas's hand, the baby chasing sunlight, the broom sweeping out the cold, and you wonder,
What else might grow here? But that is a story for tomorrow night. You dream of fire. Not the kind that warms, not the hearth, not the coals. You dream of wildfire, orange and red and running fast. You don't run from it. You just stand there, watching it move like something alive, like it knows where it's going. When you wake, your palms are open. No flame, just air. You blink. The ceiling above is wet with light again. No drip today, no frost either, just softness. Thomas is already gone when you rise. Your sister is outside with the baby, showing her something in the mud. The child laughs again, loudly this time, and for a moment it sounds too big for the house to hold. You smile, then stretch. Your joints still ache, but now it feels like use, not punishment. You stand in the doorway and let the air wrap around your face. It doesn't sting anymore, just brushes past, curious and cool. The kind of breeze that belongs to beginnings. There are tracks in the yard. Not yours, not Thomas's. Bird tracks, thin, zigzagging paths in the soft mud. They lead toward the fence, then away. No feathers left behind, just evidence. You follow them, not far, just to remind yourself you can. Down the road, smoke rises from other homes. Not the desperate kind, not smoke like warning or hunger or survival. Just cooking smoke. Soft, low, the kind that means something's simmering. You feel your mouth water, even without knowing why. You walk farther today, not for wood, not for food, just to move, just to test the thaw beneath your feet. The snow is mostly gone, but the ground remembers. Slippery in places, still icy where the shadows cling. But you don't slip, and the shadows are shrinking. You find Thomas by the stream. He's got his sleeves rolled again, and a net stretched between two sticks. It's old, frayed, but he's mending it. You sit beside him without a word. The water runs shallow and quick, little ripples curling around rocks. You stare at it for a long time. You forgot how fast water moves when it wants to. "Do you think it's real?" Thomas asks, quietly. You look at him. He's not smiling, not frowning either, just watching the stream. "What?" you ask. "This," he says. "Warmth, light, things growing again." You nod slowly. "Yes, but it's early. Could still freeze again." He exhales. "I know." A pause. "But what if it doesn't?" You don't answer, because now you feel it too. The part of warmth that's not comfort. The part that's risk. You knew how to survive the cold, but what do you do when it leaves? What do you hope for? And how do you let yourself believe in something soft without fearing it'll vanish? Back at home, your sister is boiling nettles. She hums as she works, louder than usual. The baby's asleep in a cloth sling across her back, curled like a question mark. The smell fills the room. Not sweet, not rich, but green, alive, sharp like the first breath after holding it too long. You sit by the fire, still watching the door, expecting something to go wrong, expecting wind or frost or silence. But nothing comes. Just your sister's voice, the baby's breath, and the taste of spring creeping into the walls. That night, Thomas returns with nothing, but he shrugs, says he saw minnows. He says it like a promise, and no one laughs. Because in this house, even small sightings mean more than most people will ever understand.
You don't hear the birds. You feel them. First as a twitch behind your ear, then a pause in the air, like the world is holding its breath just long enough for you to notice. You lie still, eyes closed, breath slow. Then it comes. Not loud, not cheerful, just real. One call, then another. Not a song, just a statement. We're back. You open your eyes. The ceiling is brighter again. A faint glow touches the dirt walls, golden where it used to be gray.
You sit up without the usual wince. Your sister is already near the doorway, holding the baby, who is staring upward with wide, blinkless eyes. You can tell she hears it too, not with words, not with knowing, just with the stillness of someone hearing something new. Or maybe old, but long forgotten. Outside, the world is wet. Not muddy, spring wet. Shiny, soft, full of puddles that catch sunlight like mirrors, too tired to reflect anything perfectly. You step into your boots, still damp from yesterday. You don't mind. Your feet are stronger now, wider, like the winter stretched them out. Thomas is already back from somewhere. He's tossing something near the hearth, small bundles of kindling wrapped in dry grass. "From the south field," he says. You nod, then ask, "Did you see it?" He pauses. "What?" You look toward the open door. The green. He blinks, then grins. Not just saw it, stepped on it. It's true. When you walk together later, not far, just down past the stream, you see the sprouts pushing through. Not confident, not tall, just little curls. Green like bruised glass, soft like peeled bark. They don't look like they belong here yet, but they came anyway. Your hands brush over them without picking. There's nothing to take, only something to witness. The stream runs faster today, almost proud. You dip your hands in. It stings, not from cold, but from the shock of motion. A week ago, it would have frozen you. Now it just says, "Keep up." On the way back, you both see the tracks. Deer, maybe, or something close enough. They move through the field like someone remembered how to walk in straight lines. Thomas kneels by one and presses his hand beside it. The shape is smaller than his palm. "Young," he says. You nod, and for some reason, that feels important. At home, the chores feel easier. Not because there are fewer, but because you've stopped doing them out of fear. The fire doesn't need defending. The food isn't counted in whispers. The walls don't groan with every wind. The house has started to sound like a place again, not a hiding place, just a home. Even if broken, even if bent. You sweep more slowly now, not to chase out the cold, but to make room for something else. Your sister ties herbs by the window to dry. Nothing much, just a few nettles and tiny green leaves from the yard. She hums while she works. Later, you hear her telling the baby what everything is called. Names you forgot, names you never knew. She says them with care, like speaking them is a kind of magic that keeps them alive. Maybe it is. Thomas brings back a stick carved into something, not useful, not sharp, just shaped. A curl at the end, a mark near the middle. "Just wanted to try," he says. You run your finger along the edge. It's smooth. You hand it back. He smiles, tucks it behind the water pail like it belongs. That night, the bread rises more than usual. Not much, just enough. You tear it into pieces and pass them around. The baby claps after her bite, not because of the taste, just because everyone else is smiling. After the meal, you all sit near the fire. No one speaks. There's no story, no laughter, no plans. Just the quiet of people not waiting for the worst anymore. You close your eyes, not out of exhaustion, just peace. And for the first time in a long time, you don't need the silence to be full of anything. You let it be empty. And in that emptiness, you feel the space for things to come back. Not just the birds, not just the green, but you. The parts of you that winter buried, the ones that didn't die, just lay low, quiet, patient, and now they're stretching. But that is a story for tomorrow night.
You dream of walking barefoot. Not through snow, not through ash, through grass. Short, wet grass beneath your feet. Not sharp, not wild, just cool, soft, moving slightly in the wind. When you wake, your toes are curled into the straw, and you can almost feel the dream pressed into them, like your skin is trying to hold on to something your mind already lost. The air inside the house smells different, still smoky, still full of damp wool and wood. But underneath it, something else. Warm dust, dry bark, a kind of sun-warmed scent that doesn't have a name. It just tells you the earth is awake again. You stretch without bracing for pain. Your back cracks once, not sharp, just a reminder that your spine still works, that your body has been waiting for gentler days. The fire is already lit, but it's not working as hard now. Just a quiet flame flickering near the pot. Not fighting anything, just being there. Your sister is outside, sleeves rolled, arms bare to the elbow. She's washing cloth in a basin. The water is dark, but it's moving, sloshing gently. You watch her for a while before she notices. She doesn't speak, just smiles, a small one. The baby is asleep on a blanket, a hand over her face like she's warding off a dream too bright. You step outside with bare hands. The breeze touches your skin without biting. Your fingers don't flinch. You reach down and brush the top of a weed growing by the doorway. You don't pull it. It's the first green thing that volunteered to live here. Let it stay. Thomas is down near the fence, fixing a loose post. He waves. You nod back. You don't offer help. He doesn't ask for it. The kind of silence that isn't distance, just comfort. Time passes without you counting it. You stir the pot. You mend a seam. You stand in the doorway longer than usual, not because you're waiting, but because the sun feels good on your face. Even when clouds drift over, the warmth lingers in your cheeks. You touch your skin, and it's not cold at all. You eat early, not because of hunger, just because the bread rose so well it felt wrong to let it wait. There's a thin soup, a little wild garlic, not a feast, but no one eats quietly. There are sighs, smiles, even a small cough that turns into a laugh. The baby smears bread across her face. Your sister shrugs, lets her. Washing can wait, she says, and you believe her. Afterward, Thomas sets the carved stick on the windowsill. He's added another curl to it. It's turning into something, he says. You don't ask what. He doesn't know yet. But that's the beauty of it. It doesn't have to be useful. It just has to be. In the afternoon, you and your sister walk a little, just past the yard, down to where the tree line starts again. The ground is soft, like it's remembering how to carry you. You find a cluster of pale flowers under a dead log. Tiny things, not open yet. You crouch beside them, say nothing. Just let your breath hover over their petals. They don't move, but you feel like they're listening. When you get back, the fire has gone low again, but no one rushes to fix it. You sit by it, let it dim, let it rest. Even the flames need sleep. Your body aches again that evening, but not the way it used to, not the hunger pain or the cold sting. This is the ache of use, muscles stretched, steps taken, a kind of soreness that says you've lived today. You lie down early, not from weariness, from peace. Your sister sings something, not a lullaby, not quite, just a soft melody that circles the room like smoke. The baby stirs, then stills. Thomas carves quietly in the corner. The light fades from the walls. But the silence doesn't return like a threat. It returns like a blanket, soft, heavy, familiar. You breathe in, and your body remembers the worst of it, the cold, the hunger, the night spent wondering if the sky would ever change. But it remembers something else now too. A breeze, a bird call, the first green stem beneath your palm. And, suddenly, your life is no longer about getting through. It's about staying long enough to see what comes next. And that is a story for tomorrow night.
You wake up from a dream you can't remember, but you know it wasn't bad. You feel its warmth still folded behind your ribs, like a blanket left over from childhood. You stretch slowly. No urgency, just space. The morning light is gentle. It moves across the dirt floor in wide stripes now, not squeezed, not gray. You watch the way it brightens a crack in the wall. You've never really noticed that crack before. It's shaped like a crooked smile. You smile back. The house is quiet, but not the heavy kind of quiet. Not grief, not fear, just stillness. Thomas is already gone. Your sister is near the fire, feeding the baby mashed roots. She hums without realizing it. Again, a different tune today. You don't ask what song it is. You just let it settle into the corners of the room like light. You go outside, alone this time. The sky is full of pale clouds, but you can feel the sun behind them. The wind touches your hair without pulling. You walk slowly down the path behind the house. Your boots barely make a sound in the soft earth. Everything smells damp and green and a little sad, like the world is still waking up from something it's not ready to talk about. You reach the edge of the tree line and sit on a flat stone. It's warm beneath you, warmed by sun you didn't see but believe in anyway. You close your eyes. You don't think of anything at first. You just listen. Birds, wind in the branches, a distant trickle of water, and, underneath it all, yourself. Your own breathing, slow, alive. You don't know how long you sit like that, but at some point a thought returns, an old one. They should have seen this. And with it, a flicker of grief, not sharp, not sudden, just a soft ache behind the ribs. You think of the ones who didn't make it, neighbors, friends, a name you haven't said out loud in months. You don't cry, but your chest tightens, just once, then loosens. You speak their name aloud, quietly, not for the world to hear, just for the air. The kind of prayer that isn't asking for anything, just saying, "You were here, I remember." Then silence again. When you return, Thomas is fixing a bucket, the handle cracked. He wraps it with twine, humming the same tune your sister sang earlier. You sit near him and hand him a better knot. He doesn't thank you. You don't expect him to. Inside, your sister's making something from scraps, old cloth, thread, a bit of leather. She says it might be shoes for the baby, or a bag for herbs, or a doll. She hasn't decided. You tell her to let the cloth decide. She laughs. The baby claps. Later, you all eat outside. The ground is dry enough now to sit on logs near the wall. It's not a feast, turnip stew, crusted bread, nettle tea, but it feels like one. The air is warmer than it has any right to be. You take your time chewing. Thomas tells a story from when he was small, something about a dog and a goose and a hole in a fence. The ending makes no sense, but everyone laughs anyway. The baby falls asleep with a piece of bread in her hand. Your sister gently pries it away, kisses her forehead, then sets it back in the bowl like it still matters. As the sky darkens, you sit beside the fire again, this time not for heat, just for the sound of it. It crackles, it sings, it speaks in a language you almost remember. When you lie down that night, the straw feels softer. You don't think it is, you think you are. You let your arms rest beside you. You don't curl in. You don't brace. You're not expecting the cold anymore. And your last thought before sleep is simple, but full. You think, I feel things again, and I'm not afraid of them. And that is a story for tomorrow night. The birds are louder now. Not many, but enough. Their calls come earlier in the morning, before you've even opened your eyes. Not songs, really. Just short, curious sounds, like they're checking to see if the world is still here. You listen for a while, then stretch. There's warmth in the crook of your elbow,
your own breath trapped there. You roll slowly to your side. The fire's still alive. Small, blue at the edges, but alive. Your sister is already sitting up, feeding the baby. The baby is half asleep, chewing without aim. Your sister hums under her breath, that same tune again. It has no words, it doesn't need any. You rise without saying much. The house smells like ash, linen, and something slightly green. Outside, it's overcast. Not dark, just diffused. The kind of sky that holds everything in. You breathe deeply. The air tastes like wet bark and cool stone. You crouch down beside the doorway and check the sprigs you planted a few days ago. Just old seeds and a bit of stolen compost. But something's pushing through. 2 leaves, flat and unsure. You touch the soil. It's damp. Not frozen, not hard. The dirt is soft enough to begin again. Thomas is tying rope near the woodpile. He's making something. Maybe a fence, maybe a line for drying cloth, maybe nothing yet. You walk over, hands in your sleeves. He looks up. I think I might stay. You blink? Here? He nods once. I used to think I'd leave the moment the road cleared, he says. But now that it's clearing, he trails off. You understand. The idea of leaving makes more sense in winter, when nothing is growing, when there's nothing to miss. But now, there's this. A half-built rope line, a child's laugh, green in the soil. And suddenly, you want to see what comes next. Inside, your sister is sorting things. Not just cleaning, sorting. Putting aside scraps that could be stitched. Pieces of string that could hold a button. A bit of broken pottery that still fits her hand. You ask what she's doing. She shrugs. Making things ready. You don't ask for what. Later, the baby stands up on her own. Just for a second. No one tells her to. No one helps. She pushes off the edge of the barrel and rises to her feet, arms wide, knees shaking. You all freeze. She giggles, then falls. It's not a big fall, not a real one, but still, your sister gasps, scoops her up, and checks every finger. The baby laughs again, thrilled with herself, as if to say, I will rise again. And something about that settles into your chest like a seed. You spend the afternoon mending the path behind the house, not because anyone asked you to, just because it's walkable again. You move fallen branches, smooth stones, pack the soft places down with your boots. It feels good to leave footprints that don't sink. Thomas finds an old bucket, fixes it, fills it, and watches it not leak. You both stand over it like it's a miracle. It's not, but it feels like one. You return to the house in silence. The good kind, the kind that means we did something, even if it was small. Dinner is quieter than usual. No stories tonight, no jokes. Just calm chewing, steam rising, the baby licking her spoon with her whole face. You rest your back against the wall, feel your spine settle into the shape of the house, and you realize this place has changed. Not the structure, the feeling. It doesn't cling to you like a cave now. It wraps around you like a shawl. That night, you sit by the fire alone for a while. Everyone else has gone quiet. The flames are slow, tired, maybe, but still burning. You watch them curl. You stir them once, gently, and in the hush that follows, you think, you could plant more. You could build a second wall on the shed. You could gather herbs for trade. You could teach the baby to walk. Not because you must, not because winter demands it, but because you want to. Because staying alive and living aren't the same thing. You lie down with a softness in your chest. Not joy, not quite. Just readiness. For more. Not yet, not all at once, but soon. Because now that spring is near, you're no longer afraid to imagine things, and that is a story for tomorrow night. You wake before the sun, but it's not dark. Just that soft gray before the light arrives, the hush before birds decide to speak. You sit up, slowly, stretch your arms. The fire is gone, but you're not cold. The blanket holds its warmth, the room holds your breath, and the silence holds nothing but peace. You stand and move through the house without sound, not sneaking, just practiced. Your sister is asleep, the baby curled in beside her, one hand over her mouth. Thomas, a faint shape beneath the cloak near the door. All still, all safe. You step outside. The air is damp and new, a little cool, but not sharp. Your breath doesn't show, but your thoughts do. They rise in slow waves. Today, you'll plant something, not just think about it, not just talk about it. You'll begin. You take the small cloth bundle from the shelf near the window, the one with the seeds, some old, some borrowed, a few gathered by accident. You hold it like it's fragile, like it might change if you breathe too hard. And maybe it will. Everything does, eventually. Thomas stirs as you pass. He blinks, sees you with the bundle. "You goin'?" he asks. You nod. "Wanna come?" He thinks for a moment, then shakes his head, smiling. "Let me sleep 5 more years." You chuckle, just once, then keep walking. Outside, the world is soft. The dirt path is still damp from yesterday's rain. It sinks a little under your feet, but doesn't hold you. You walk to the patch near the back fence, the one you cleared last week. Nothing special, just a stretch of earth that's had time to breathe. You crouch down, feel the soil with your fingers. Cool, crumbly, ready. You dig small rows, with your hands, no tools today. It's not work, it's something else. A kind of offering, a kind of prayer. You drop the seeds in one by one, cover them, press lightly, like tucking in a child. You don't know what will grow, not exactly. Some of the seeds are faded, some are unknown, some might just be rocks. But that's not the point. You're not planting certainty, you're planting hope. Quietly, gently, without fanfare. When you finish, you sit back, brush dirt from your palms. Look at the rows, bare, uneven, unimpressive. But they hold a future you haven't met yet. And that's enough. You hear a sound behind you. Your sister walking over with the baby wrapped against her. She sits beside you, wordless, watches you run your fingers through the earth again. "What did you plant?" she asks. You shrug. "Whatever said yes." She laughs, a soft, tired laugh, then reaches down and presses the baby's hand to the dirt. The baby doesn't understand, but she smiles anyway. Later, Thomas joins you. He brings a mug of water, pours a little at the base of each row, carefully, like he's done it before. You don't speak. The 3 of you just sit there, watching nothing, but not waiting. Back inside, you mark something on the wall, a scratch with a knife, a small line beneath the others. The old lines were survival marks. Each one, "We made it." But this one feels different. It's not a mark of endurance. It's a beginning, a chapter, a root. That night, you eat simply. Boiled greens, a scrap of meat, flatbread warmed on the fire. But it tastes better. Everything does now. Not because it changed, but because you have. Afterward, you sit by the fire. The baby asleep, your sister sewing, Thomas sharpening a tool he hasn't needed in months. You look around and realize something quietly stunning. No one is preparing for the end tonight. No one is counting what's left. No one is rationing silence. No one is holding back warmth. You lie down early, hands clean, body soft. And as you close your eyes, you think of the seeds again, sitting alone in the dark, covered, unseen, but not forgotten. They don't know they're growing, but they are. And you realize, neither did you. But that is a story for tomorrow night.
The rain comes gently this time. No thunder, no wind. Just the soft tapping of drops on the thatched roof, slow and even, like someone drumming their fingers to pass the time. You lie there listening, eyes closed. You feel the weight of your own body, comfortable now, not aching, not curled tight against the cold. There's no fear in the sound of water,
Not anymore. It doesn't mean danger now. It just means something is changing. You open your eyes. The house is dim but not dark. Soft light filters through the cloth window. Your sister is up. She's brushing crumbs from the table. The baby is playing with a wooden spoon on the floor, smacking it against a bowl with more purpose than success. Thomas is cutting something, a bit of cloth, maybe for patching, maybe for trade. He doesn't look tired anymore, just focused. No one says anything. There's nothing that needs saying. The silence feels like a cushion. You all sit on it without sinking. You step outside. The rain patters on your shoulders. Thin, misty drops that soak slowly, like they want to be polite about it. The smell of earth rises instantly, sharp and sweet and old. You breathe it in. It smells like time. You walk to the planting patch behind the house. The rows look the same. Nothing has broken through the soil, but you weren't expecting anything, not yet. You crouch beside one row and run your hand gently along the top. The earth is darker here, warmed, wet, heavy, full of secrets. You speak to it without sound. Take your time, you think. We're not in a hurry anymore. When you come back inside, the air is warm and smells faintly of broth. You take the pot off the fire, stir it slowly. Nettle, onion, a little salt. Enough. You ladle it out, not by habit, by choice. It feels good to feed people again without counting what's left. Your sister smiles as she eats. The baby tries to feed herself and misses her mouth. Thomas says nothing but finishes every drop. You lean back, rest your head against the wall, let your shoulders drop. This is work, yes, but it doesn't feel like survival anymore. It feels like life. Later, you gather small stones from the path, flat ones, round ones. You lay them in a circle near the garden, not for any real reason, just because the space looked lonely. You don't tell anyone, but when you pass by later, someone's added a pine cone in the middle. No one mentions it, but now it's a circle with a pine cone, so it stays. Thomas fixes the roof today, a spot near the edge where it always sagged. You hold the ladder steady while he works. Neither of you speaks. But when he finishes, he pats the roof and says, "Well, now we wait for a storm that doesn't come." You smile, because he's right, and because it's okay if storms come now. You know how to stay standing. Your sister begins writing again. Not letters, not real writing, just marks on cloth. Lines and curves she says are prayers, or maybe herbs, or maybe a memory. You ask what it means. She shrugs. Doesn't have to mean anything yet. It's just mine. You understand, completely. That evening, you boil water just to wash your hands. It feels silly at first, luxury where there used to be only need. But as your fingers soak, and the dirt lifts, and the skin softens, you realize this is what peace feels like. It's not banners, not music, not certainty. It's clean hands, a warm fire, and the sound of someone breathing safely nearby. You lie down early, not to sleep, just to rest. You watch the fire flicker against the wall. The baby makes soft sounds in her sleep, little sighs like tiny thoughts escaping. Thomas hums as he sharpens a blade. Your sister folds a shawl twice, then once more, then just holds it in her lap. You don't speak, but you all share the same thought. This is what it means to begin again. And even though tomorrow will bring chores and weather and questions, you're not afraid of any of it. Not anymore. Because now you know what the cold taught you. You are still here, and you are still becoming. And that is a story for tomorrow night.
The morning is quiet, not silent, just full. The way bread fills a bowl, the way a name fills a room. You open your eyes slowly. There's no urgency now. No cold waiting. No fear pacing outside the door. just the stillness of a world that no longer needs defending. You sit up, stretch. Your body remembers everything it's been through, but it doesn't ache for it anymore. You look around the house, the same walls, the same low ceiling, but they're holding something new now, something like peace. Your sister is wrapping herbs into bundles. Thomas is restringing the old bow he thought he'd forgotten how to use. The baby is chasing a piece of thread like it's the most magical thing she's ever seen. And maybe it is, because today, everything feels like enough. You go outside. The sky is wide, unclouded, and pale with the kind of spring light that makes the earth look soft. Your footsteps don't sink in anymore. They land. They stay. You walk to the garden patch, and there it is. The first green leaf, pushed through the dirt, barely standing, bent from the wind, but alive. You crouch beside it, run your finger gently along the edge. You don't speak. You don't need to. Everything you've wanted to say has already been planted here. Back inside, the house smells like broth and bread and sunlight on old wood. Thomas has taken down the extra cloth from the window. It's warm enough, he says. And he's right. Light pours through now, washes over the walls, over the floor, over the memory of the cold that once slept in every corner. You sit near the door and watch the dust float in the light. It moves like snow used to, but gentler, kinder. You remember things now, not survival, but life. The feeling of mud between your toes when you were small, your mother's laugh when the stew boiled over, your father's hands, rough but steady, tying rope in the cold. You remember losing people too, but today the remembering doesn't hurt. It just is, like spring, like breath. You eat together again, slower than usual. The meal stretches longer than it needs to. No one rushes. No one saves the last bite out of fear. No one hoards silence. You all just exist, softly, like people who've made it to something that isn't the end, but the next part. Afterward, your sister braids her hair. Thomas washes the knife. The baby sleeps with a smile on her face. And you step outside again, not to check the garden, not to gather wood, not to defend anything, just to stand, to be seen by the sun. The wind touches your face like an old friend. You close your eyes, breathe in green and wet and warmth. You think of winter, not with bitterness, but with something like awe, because it didn't take you, because you didn't let it, because you survived without being remembered by history, and that was enough. You won't be in the books. No songs will be sung. No carved stone will hold your name. But here, in this little place, with soil on your hands and a child's laughter in your ears and sunlight drying the last of the snow, you were real. You mattered. You stayed. And when the cold comes again, as it always will, you'll remember this: the planting, the mending, the waiting, the people who shared it with you, the house that held your breath, the fire that never quite went out. You lie down one last time, blanket pulled to your chin. The baby stirs in her sleep. Thomas snores softly. Your sister murmurs a prayer out the window, not for herself, but for the next season of people who will do this too. The forgotten ones, the quiet ones, the survivors, like you. The fire dims, but doesn't die. And as your eyes close and the night folds in around you, you breathe one last thought. They will never know your name, but you were here, and that was your story.